Donald Trump demands a no vote later today on the question of creating a bipartisan January 6th commission. Right now, the mother of a dead Capitol Hill police officer is on Capitol Hill trying to change Republican minds, asking them to defy the former president and choose truth and accountability.
Do you think you can change minds today?
I hope so. I hope so. And Brian had a work ethic like second to none, and he was just there for our country and for these guys, and he just was doing his job, and he got caught up in it, and it's very sad. This is why I'm here today. Usually I'm stay in the background, and I couldn't stay quiet anymore.
There is power to a mother's grief, but Gladys Sicknick is unlikely to sway enough votes because Mitch McConnell is always methodical and rarely emotional. He is no fan of Donald Trump, but he wants to be majority leader again, and he believes keeping Trump happy is his best path back to power. So McConnell will vote against having a bipartisan investigation of the Capitol insurrection, and he expects most Senate Republicans to follow the leader and vote no as well.
Are you concerned about losing 10 Republicans on the January 6th vote? Think that may happen? Are you working your members to vote against them? Lobbying them?
Yeah, I made my position pretty clear.
I've made my position clear. Finally, you heard from Leader McConnell there. CNN special correspondent Jamie Gangel is with us. She has some new reporting on McConnell's arm twisting. Jamie?
He's taking arm twisting to a whole new level, is what I'm being told, John. According to two Republican sources familiar with what's going on, look, we know that Mitch McConnell has been pressuring Republican senators to vote against the January 6th commission, as you said. But we are told that in the last 24 hours, that McConnell has doubled down, started reaching out to particular senators he was afraid might be wavering, and asked them to vote against the commission, quote, as a personal favor, John.
Jamie, it is not unprecedented. It actually happens frequently that a leader asks members of the caucus, Democrats and Republicans, I need this one. You have to take one for the team. But this is not any vote. This is not a budget vote. This is not to somebody get a committee assignment. This is about an attack on the United States government.
Right. Exactly right. And I'm told the senators were really caught by surprise at his using that kind of language and just how insistent he's been. One Republican source said to me, quote, no one can understand why Mitch is going to this extreme of asking for a personal favor to kill the commission. The source went on to say, how can you have an attack on the Capitol and the Republican leader is saying vote against it? The source ended by saying it is despicable. And John, our sources are suggesting that Mitch McConnell may really have been concerned that Mrs. Sicknick's visits today would sway some Republican senators.
When you say he was worried about that, any particular senator she was meeting with, something about her agenda that had him concerned?
So let me go through the count, which is interesting. We know that at least 14 Republican senators agreed to meet with her. Some offered to have staff meet with her. But we heard that from our sources, 15 declined to meet with her, and another 14, I believe, just would not reply. That means that a majority of the Republican conference would not sit down and talk to the mother of Officer Sicknick, who died trying to protect them, John.
You can vote the way you want to vote in the end. Kind of indefensible to not sit down with a grieving mother who came all the way up there to just ask for a few minutes of your time. Jamie Gangel, grateful for that reporting. The commission dies unless 10 Republicans break ranks. So far, we know of only a few. Just moments ago, Senator Susan Collins of Maine said this.
We owe it to the brave men and women who defended our lives that day, and in some cases did so at the cost of their lives. And that's why I feel so strongly about that.
CNN Chief Congressional Correspondent Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill. Manu, you tried with the leader there at the top. Took him a long time to give you a short answer. What's the math right now? If you look, everything I've looked at says there's not 10 Republicans ready to break.
Yeah, there's not. And look, frankly, the Republican leaders have been confident for days that they have the votes to defeat this. Mitch McConnell has made his case behind the scenes, telling members that there's concern that this commission could be politically damaging for the Republicans because they believe Democrats would use this to help keep their majority in both chambers. He's made that argument privately behind closed doors. He's made that argument publicly, and that has actually taken hold. A vast majority of the Senate Republican Conference agrees with that, and including one Republican senator who had not said where she would come down until just moments ago. And I asked her, Shelley Moore Capito of West Virginia, who's actually playing a key role in the infrastructure talks, I asked her if she's going to vote to proceed to this legislation, and she said no. And she said her concern is that it's become, quote, too politicized, very clearly in line with the view of the Republican leader. So that argument is working. And also, Mrs. Sicknick is meeting with these members. Some of them are still planning to vote no. Others, like Susan Collins, are indicating they will vote yes. But she's making her case very clearly and speaking in very visceral and personal terms about the loss that she experienced of her son who defended this Capitol on that day, January 6th. She said in a statement, I suggest that all congressmen and senators who are against this bill visit my son's grave in Arlington National Cemetery, and while there, think about what their hurtful decisions will do to those officers who will be there for them going forward. But even some Republicans she met with, like Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, came out with a statement after their meeting and said he will still try to seek the truth, he said, but he's not going to vote for this commission. So it is unlikely to sway senators. And I can tell you, in talking to the Republican leadership today, they are confident that they will maintain their conference. They'll probably lose maybe 5, 6, 7 potentially, but they are certain they won't lose 10, which is the magic number here. John.
Manu Raju, live on the Hill. Appreciate the reporting. Let's bring the conversation into the room, and with me to share their reporting and their insights, Lauren Fox, our CNN congressional correspondent, and Jake Tapper, our CNN chief Washington correspondent, anchor of The Lead, and author of a great new novel. You see it right there, The Devil May Dance. We focus too often in Washington on math, or can you get this vote, can you get that vote? This is power. I just want to start there.
Yeah.
Please tell me if you think I'm wrong, but Mitch McConnell is no fan of Trump. He repudiated him after the insurrection, but he's done the math. It's a 50-50 Senate. He can be the majority leader after the next election. One thing that might complicate that is an angry Donald Trump getting involved in every Republican primary, stirring up the pot, trying to cut off fundraising. This is about power, not about the truth. Officer Sicknick, the other brave heroes of that insurrection, their legacy, that mother deserves an answer. She's not going to get it, at least not in the independent commission format.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple things. First of all, he's not going to have a happy Donald Trump no matter what. I mean, he can acquiesce to what Trump wants here, but there's going to be something else, and then there's going to be something else after that, and something else after that. I mean,
they never learn that lesson.
They never learn it, and you know, he is insatiable, Donald Trump, in terms of what he demands, and it doesn't matter if Mitch McConnell and the Republicans bend the knee here, they're going to do something wrong later. So that's one. And you're right. I mean, it's a lesson they don't learn. Two, I've been in Washington for a long time, John. You and I both have. I have never seen people on Capitol Hill not want a committee. I've never seen it happen before. You know how many investigations there were into Benghazi? 10. There were 10 investigations, 5 in the House. Of those 5, 1 was a select committee. And you know what? As a journalist and as an American, I had no problem with that. I wanted to know more. I wanted to get to the bottom of it. I wanted people with subpoena power, which I don't have, to get answers. I wanted Hillary Clinton to testify. Why Republicans would not want this in an attack on their own workplace and an attack on the people's house is beyond me.
But we know the answer, sadly, or the evidence before us is pretty overwhelming. They don't want it because they don't want Kevin McCarthy, the House Republican leader, to be in the chair where Hillary Clinton had to sit and answer questions. They do not want the White House Chief of Staff. The former President Donald Trump would never come as a witness. He would be one to have. What were you doing? Did you delay the National Guard? What did you tell Leader McCarthy? Did you really say the rioters seem to care a lot more about the election than you do, Kevin? That's why they don't want it, because the truth could be damaging politically.
Well, that's right, John. Although one thing that's very perplexing to me is that a commission, by its definition, by the way that this bill is structured, would be more bipartisan than what you will likely get if Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, moves forward with something like a select committee. A select committee puts the power in the hands of Democrats. Now, you can change the way that bill's written, but you can guarantee that Democrats are going to have control over who